Okay, welcome to the first episode of the Inspired by Her podcast. I am here with Teshan Henry, and if you aren't yet, you should be inspired by her. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm happy that I have you as a first guest. So, little background on Teshan and I met her in high school. I came across you a few times in middle school, but I got to know her in high school, right? So I've been watching her journey for a few years, and it's inspiring as hell. And I'm here to, get in depth about things. Okay, so just give us a slight introduction on what it is you do exactly.
My name is Teshan. I do have an undergrad degree in elementary education with the track and math. I have went back for my master's degree, and I have that in clinical and mental health counseling. So I'm hoping to become a school-based therapist with that. Right now on the side, I'm doing tarot readings. I do party bookings, but mainly tarot readings right now.
All right, so it's something new that I actually didn't know of. You mentioned therapy or like mental health counseling.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time I'm hearing of that. I've heard like you go through the teaching they want to cancel, but I haven't heard of that. What got you on that track?
So when I was, first of all, I've always been like a therapeutic friend. Everybody always come to me, asking me questions and like venting to me, and I like doing it. I get a personal fulfillment from listening to people talk to me about their issues and helping them resolve that and get through that. So when I was in my undergrad degree, it was my last semester. So we student teach 40 hours a week, but we don't get paid for it. Mm-hmm. So it's like we working, but it's interning. So we're there 40 hours a week. But I did that at a trauma-based school, which is basically a school with a lot of students that have went through trauma. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that their behavior was off the chain. I'm not gonna lie. But I wanted to help them. I wanted to help them in ways that I felt like that would be beneficial to them. And I didn't feel like I was ready to go back and handle behavior immediately and after I got my degree and jump right in and like maintaining behavior. So I went back for counseling. I felt like I could be a great school counselor. And then I found out school counselors, they don't really do much. They do more administrative work, which makes sense. Like we always in school, like when we was in high school, like they work with career and stuff. They don't really, they do talk to students, but they can do 15 minutes max. So I wanted to do school-based therapists because like I would get more time with the students. I'll get the students that need the actual help. I think school-based therapists get about 30 minutes with each student. So I wanted to do that and help kids within trauma-based schools.
Okay. So trauma-based schools is the first time I've actually heard of something like that. And we have those here in Louisville. Yep. Are you allowed to like name one if you know of one or two? I've never heard of that.
McFern is one for sure. Portland Elementary School is one. It's mainly like low income schools that have that name because like the students, they come from like those areas that have automatic. Yeah. So like schools in the West End, they're more than likely to be a trauma-based schools. But I personally feel like all schools should be trauma-based because even though like schools that come from lower income areas, because like you do see trauma every day within the low income area, like violence. You might see somebody getting shot or robbed, they consider that trauma. So, but my point of saying that is because not just students that live in lower incomes experience trauma, like someone that lives in a higher income school might have been raped as a child or something like that, God forbid. But that's trauma, and I feel like all students deserve that, but it's a whole nother topic for another day.
Okay, so when you were doing the internship at one of the trauma-based schools that you were at, did you actually get to sit in on one of the counselors while they talked to a student about a situation?
Because my track was something different, so I was in the classroom teaching. But my major that I'm in now, so like after this semester, I want to say January, we do a full year intern, whereas like teaching, you just do a semester. So we're going to do a full year intern, and I'm going to be able to like get to work with different populations. Hopefully they place me in the children's population. I'm going to request it. And then I'll be able to like sit in on like school-based therapists or work with children at like counseling centers and stuff.
Because you know what's good about that? It's like they provide opportunities in like schools for students to have access to certain things, and then with kids being the kids that they are, they don't take advantage of it. So what I was gonna say next is, it's good that we have schools who like include the counseling for when stuff happened, but do you think that like it's used as much as it should be? Like for example, you know, those times where like school shootings or something happen, and then the school comes out with like an article like these students has been provided with counseling during the school if they need to use it. And then you have all these kids like, oh, that's not gonna do nothing for me, and then they don't even end up using it. So then it's like an offer that's gone to waste. Like for example, when my nephew was killed, people in his bus stop was offered counseling. My niece was too, since that was her brother, and she didn't use it because she had that kind of attitude, like, oh, where are you? It's not gonna help me with nothing, and you know, because they don't understand.
That's a good question. Well, first of all, I'm sorry about your nephew.
Yeah.
Second of all, I remember something like that happened at Central.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to name anybody particularly, but it was like a 14-year-old that got killed,
Mm-hmm.
and they offered people to come down and talk to a counselor that needed to talk to them. I've seen a couple of people leave, but I honestly think it depends on the person. It also depends on the household, because if your parents believe that like, and there's a lot of parents that do believe that, and that's a problem within the Black community too. If you believe that mental health is not like a priority, or if you feel like counseling is not going to help, and it's a lot of people do feel like that, then you're more than likely not to take advantage of it. But I feel like schools should also like, when they're offering, I feel like they should explain why it would help, and explain like how it could be beneficial to the student, and maybe it'll make someone want to do it. But some students also get like reference to it because they have to.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk about being a teacher. It's not like always easy to get through to a student for like certain reasons. Like, you know, like this student needs this, but like, you know, like at our age, they're stuck in their ways. Like, I don't need that because of that. Like, what is mechanisms you use to get through to a student when you're trying to get a certain point across that's beneficial for them? If you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. Building bridges, which is like making connections with them, building relationships with them. So there was this one time where I worked with a group of 5th graders at a trauma-sensitive school, and the class was it was 100% people of color, students of color. So it was about half were Black and half were like Hispanic. And I read a book that I knew would relate to them. It was about a 5th grader whose mom went to prison, and she was kind of embarrassed to like talk to people about it and like make friends and like make new friends and tell them about her mom. So I asked them questions like, have any of your parents ever been to jail, or like somebody you know really close to you been to jail? And then I started with myself, and that's where the connection was built, or the bridge was built, because I told them, hey, my dad has been to jail when I was younger, and I told them how it affected me. So then almost the whole class was like, yeah, I know somebody has been to jail, or my parents been to jail. And there was this one student, his behavior was, he was the student that had the most problem behavior within the class. I want to say he's a problem child, but he did have problem behaviors. And he started explaining about how his brother was in jail at the moment as we speak. So I think it just starts with building connections and explaining to them, and starting with your own personal experience, so that they will be open to open up, and relate.
Because when you can't relate to somebody, you're afraid to open up to them because you think that they can't understand.
Period.
Right. Right. I still come across that in my big ass adult age too. Like,
and I do too, and I think that's human. That's human. You don't want to open up to somebody that you feel like is not going to understand you or down you for what you're going through. Right. But if you tell them that you're going through the same thing, they'll be more willing to open up.
You're right. Okay, so let's talk next about, you know something. So recently you studied abroad in Belize. Now, prior to doing that, you talked about it like a year or two previously, like you were just mentioning on your story, like how you wanted to. And let's talk about how that came about, how it went from like wanting to like you got the
actually
opportunity.
doing it. Yeah. It's something I always wanted to do. Like freshman year of college, I wanted to do it. I've tried to go through it multiple times because my school was funded, and I would get like, they could have transferred the money to the other university if I did the study abroad. I just never followed through with it. So once I had my daughter, I was like, I'm never gonna study abroad. I just knew I wasn't. But I had this professor. He is my absolute favorite professor. He has done so much for me. He reached out to me and he was like, hey, you want to go to Belize with us? We started opening up the applications again this year because like they stopped it during COVID. He was like, this is our first time going back and I'm picking out people that I think will be excellent and I think you will be great. Would you like to go? And I was like, yeah, of course. Am I able to go? I'm not even an education major no more. And he was like, you're still in the CHD department, which is College of Education and Human Development. So the counseling and education, they all in the same building. So he was like, yeah, you're part of CHD still, so you can go. So I filled out the application. I got accepted, and then like we took a course for it. So we met up once a month prepping to go. It was hard to lesson plan because you don't really know where they're gonna be at the specific time of the year. So we kind of did slight lesson planning, but not that much. We was mainly like trying to get the supplies together, what we was gonna need, learning about the Belize culture before we went. So yeah, that was a whole ordeal, and then I finally got to go. So that's pretty much how it started off, trying to go and trying to get there. But I honestly thought I was never going to be able to do something like that. And it was perfect because it was only 2 weeks. So I would have had like only to be away from my daughter for 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Girl, I was living through you at that time, and I didn't think it was 2 weeks. Okay.
How long did it feel?
I felt like, cause you know when you go on vacation, the stay just feels so short. I felt like you was there for maybe a week or two.
Yeah.
So now I want to dig more into the trip. So first of all, you've like flew to Hawaii and stuff recently too, but this time it's different. You're flying all the way to Belize. That is far. So how many of it was you on this trip?
It was 17 of us, and actually Belize was way shorter than Hawaii.
What?
Yeah, Belize is right underneath Mexico, so we had to we flew to Miami first. That was our what is it called? Layover, yes. That was our layover, and Miami flight is only like 2.5 hours, and then the flight from Miami to Belize is about 3 hours. So total it was like 5 hours, but our layover time on the way back was like 4 hours. So we ended up taking like 10 hours total to get from Belize to home the second time we flew.
Okay, so then you get there. You're in a whole different environment. I don't know, like from like the videos you posted, I could see like the Belize look like how the commercials look in those foreign countries. What was the living situation like there for you all?
We stayed in multiple different hotels. So when we first got there, we flew into Belize City. I think that's the only airport in the whole entire country of Belize. So we flew into Belize City. We was in this nice hotel, and we stayed there for a night. And then when we woke up, we got on the road and we traveled to closer to where the school was gonna be. And we had a hotel there, but it was more like a motel because it was like as soon as you open your door, you're outside. But they had just remodeled it, so it was really nice on the inside. It just wasn't as nice as the first hotel. So we stayed there for the entire 2 weeks, and then on our way back home, we had to we had to drive to a hotel closer to Belize Airport, and that was a really nice hotel. That hotel looked like one in Kentucky, like a Louisville, Kentucky. So it was a really nice hotel, that one. And yeah, those are the 3 different places we stayed at, but it was just one main one that we stayed at the entire time.
What was the differences you saw in the Belize schooling system and in ours? Like, what's different over there?
So they don't have air conditioners. When you walk in, they keep their door open because they don't have air conditioning. They keep their windows open because they don't have air conditioners. And they have like chickens walking around. It's so cute. They have chickens walking around. Some of them will be walking into the classroom. They have stray dogs that just be coming into the classroom. Some students have dogs that they brought to school with them and just wander out in the yard. And then when they left, they will leave with their dog, or if their parent can't pick them up, they'll leave with their parent. But I've only seen like one child get picked up that had a dog. Everybody else walked home because the school was literally in their village. The teachers came from different cities or different villages, and they came in to teach. But the students, they literally had to walk home because it was inside their village. The school's inside their village.
Was it an 8-hour school day over there, or how does their hours work?
Excuse me. I think we went to school at like 8, and then we had lunch at like 12, and then at 12 to 1 was the entire lunch. So that's much different from school in the U.S. We only get like 20-minute lunch breaks.
Yeah.
So it was a whole hour. They didn't have a cafeteria, and they had multiple buildings too. They had like 3 different school buildings. So the students, they'll go home and eat, and then come after class, and then from like 1 to 3. So that's about 7 hours. 6. That's about 6 hours.
Got it. All right. So when you were over there, what did y'all like practice on y'all end? Like, did you? It's like the lesson planning different. Like, I know y'all had like you went for a purpose to learn certain how to operate in their school system. So what was something that you learned how to operate different from here?
I learned not to take things for granted because everybody always down talks the American school system, and it's really not that bad, honestly. Because standing up and teaching for 6-7 hours with no air was rough. It was really rough, and I came home every day exhausted, and then we had the lesson plan as soon as we got home for the next day. So that was rough. I learned to not to take anything for granted, basically, for what we have here in America.
Now, for the viewers watching, if we have any younger viewers tuning in, what do you want to say that like you definitely see American school systems, like the students take for granted that you think the other students in Belize really appreciate?
I'd say, I know this isn't really school per se, but like I guess recycling. Even though we have recycling bins in school, I feel like people don't really use them as much. They literally have a world like social studies class where they just make recycled stuff. So like I have a video posted on my page actually of the kids making games out of cardboards and stuff, and like playing outside is something that they're taking advantage of. Like being on their phone all the time. Those students, they literally make games in school with recycled stuff, and then they take it home and play with it.
Yeah, they look so happy on the video she posted with them. They was outside all dancing together. No technology was in this video in any of the students' hands, by the way. So yeah. I have one more thing.
Now that you say that, technology's even taking advantage of her. What do
you mean? Explain.
Well, like it's taken for granted. Like we don't appreciate it that we have it. It's just something normal to us. Where it's like one of my teachers, because I was in 2 different classes. My teacher that I was originally supposed to be with the older students, she was right next to the principal's office. So she was the only class that had Wi-Fi out of all the classes in the school. So she brought in her own laptop, her own students' tablet. She only had 3 technologies, so she had them go in groups, and she used that for them. But that was the only teacher that could do that because she was the only one close to Wi-Fi. So I feel like we take technology for granted here too. It's just something normal to us, especially like kids that have only seen technology growing up.
Right. And the other thing that I wanted to touch base on and for my viewers to see, you were one of the only blacks on that trip, right, as a teacher, right?
I was the only black student. It was a mixed girl. She was mixed. It was my roommate.
Oh yeah, I see that.
But pretty much she identifies as a black woman. I don't want to discredit her just because she's mixed. But yeah, we was one of the only 2 black women there.
I just wanted to really give props to that, just to be a part of an opportunity like that, you know?
Thank you.
All right, so now that we move away from the whole teaching thing and all of that, I want to move into motherhood. Because you said something earlier when you were talking about the trip. You said that once you found out you was pregnant, you thought that you would never even have the opportunity, which I could relate to. It's like lots of intrusive thoughts that we have once we find out we're pregnant, and society has us thinking that like your life is over, you're not going to be able to navigate your career, everything goes towards your kid. I remember the exact day you posted that you was pregnant, actually. In her caption, she was like something along the lines like, I know some people might be disappointed. And it's like right when we announced it. So when you first announced your pregnancy, you begun it off with a line like basically addressing people like, I know some people are going to be disappointed. And I would notice like a lot of times when women do announce their pregnancy via social media, that's like the first thing they occur to address is the people who's thinking down, the people who's thinking otherwise. Did you really feel like you had people that like was going to be disappointed, or like that you was afraid of, like your mom or somebody, or was you just?
Oh no, my mom was happy. I thought she was gonna be mad, but she was happy because she always said like I should finish school first before I have a kid. But when she found out I was pregnant, she was so happy. She ain't had a grandbaby in 5 years at that point, and she just she want to have like 10 grandkids. She loved being a grandma, so she was like, oh, I'm so excited. Oh, you're having a baby. So she was happy. She was like, we will support you. We got you through this. I know you weren't about getting through school, but we got you. Her and my dad, they were both on the same page. I think I was more so thinking of like, I know my classmates, because of being a black woman, I know that they already look at us like stereotype us. And I felt like me becoming a mom, being one of the only few black students at a predominantly white school, that they were going to look down on me. I did have a few of them on my social media. So I wanted to address that. I know there was people that looked up to me, and I didn't want them to think, oh, because she's having a baby, she's not going to finish. Like, I'm going to finish. I'm going to get it. And I'm going to go with my harder now because I have a kid.
Let's get back to what you said about, you said like a few classmates with you being at PWI. Did you ever think deep into the scenario, like for example, for someone like it's commonly that like when whites do get in relationships younger, they're married at like 21. Was you kind of like telling yourself intrusive thoughts about like how like maybe they were thinking about like your situation, like is he just a boyfriend, is he a husband? Was you like considering that stuff?
Yeah, I was considering that too, because I did have a lot of classmates that was getting married too. Like almost everybody I know now that is white and graduated with me are married. So I know that they were probably thinking that too, but I know they probably even thought that I wasn't even with the guy at all. I don't know. That's what I'll be thinking.
I asked you that because I was telling myself intrusive thoughts about that. I work in the healthcare field around people who are like, if they aren't single, they marry, and even the ones who's my age, they've been with their freaking husband since middle school or high school, and it's like, I know what they thinking, like, what is she? Is she just like a typical black situation, or, you know, which, no, not together, but, you know, I was just thinking that, you know, it's crazy how we worry ourselves with stupid shit like that instead of just enjoying our pregnancy.
Yeah.
And so what year were you in when you found out you was pregnant with Halo?
Junior, I think.
Junior?
But I did like a senior, and then I did a semester after senior. So I went to school for 4.5 years.
Oh, I remember, because I seen she was still small at your graduation with the bachelor's.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
All right, so next, your dad. Your mom and your dad has been together like all your life. And how many siblings is it?
It's 5. Well, it's 4 of them, but it's 5 of us all together.
Did you tell your mom and your dad at the same time?
No, I was trying to hide it from my daddy.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at, because see, my dad passed away in October, and I just
October 2022.
Yeah.
Why did I not know this?
I posted about it. Like I made like one post like the day that happened.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Did you know that you was pregnant before you passed away? Were you pregnant?
No. I got pregnant in November and found out December. And so what I was getting at, I was like, I would have been scared because my daddy's dramatic. Like I was talking to my little sister about it, and she was like, and then once the baby got here, he would have been okay. But like he was the one, he would always say, so you know once you have a kid, you grown and you ain't gonna ask me for nothing, right? So like, he's dramatic as hell, like just dramatic. So I was like, I kept thinking about like, if he would have found out, how would have he like, I don't know. You know when you see yourself as like a kid, even when once you grown. Because when you have siblings that's older than you, you come off as a kid. So I'm like, how was it for you?
Okay, before I say anything, like you don't give yourself enough props. Like your dad just passed away and you doing all this stuff. Like you are really doing the damn thing, girl. Like you don't give yourself enough props. I see you give women all their props, and that's good, but you need to give yourself props too.
Yeah, I beat myself up.
That's pretty normal. That is normal, but you need to give yourself some props.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, so what was the question again?
So we were just talking about the kid and announcing it.
Yeah.
So going into next, feminism. I feel like it's perfect for somebody like you to have a daughter because you are big on feminism. That's one of the things that you push on your social media.
Yeah.
That's good. I feel like that's good for you to be a girl mom.
Yeah,
I
can't see myself being a boy mom. Me personally, I be scared for like black males, like bringing a black male into this world and like all the stuff that they face. Like they don't even have to be doing anything and walking down the street and they'll get profiled, or like even black boys against each other. Like I just feel like everywhere you turn, a black male, they have something up against them, and it just makes me so sad. So like along with feminism, I'm very pro Black Lives Matter too, because I gotta go hard for my black men.
Wait, hold on. got me into one of my planned questions I had for you. You was like, pro Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
And so you attended PWI. And you know how there's always that debate, like, I'm going to a HBCU, I'm pro-Black, I gotta go there. Why was you still okay and comfortable with going to a PWI despite your beliefs and stuff like that?
Because that was a school that had the best, in Kentucky, that school in WKU, they had the best teaching program. And they offered me the most money. They paid for all 4 of my years. So I just like, there's no option.
Right. Okay, put the money first. All right, so now let's head over into, you have something else really special that you do aside from your love for teaching. You are a reader. Talk more about that.
So I read tarot, I read oracle, which they're kind of the same, but they're not. They're both cards. Tarot is like a standard 78 card deck. They always have the same type of cards, even if it's like, so for instance, I have the Hoodoo deck, the Hoodoo tarot deck. It's the same as the regular one, but it's like slightly different, like with the pictures and like what they portray on it. So it's still 78 cards. It's still like the same exact cards like the Magician. It just might be named something different in Hoodoo. Whereas oracle cards, you can make an oracle deck right now, and it could be any number of cards you want. If you want it to be love, about love, all love, it could be like just cards about like let's just say third party or lover, soulmates. It'll say stuff like that. Whereas tarot's gonna have the sun, the moon, magician. It's gonna have those cards every single time. Mm-hmm. So I read oracle, I read tarot. I'm a claromancy reader. I love saying that I do that because a lot of people don't know what that is, and it's really deep into our beliefs as Black people. It could be found in multiple cultures, but like hoodoo, which is African American spirituality, they call it bone reading sometimes. So like I like that. I really like doing that, and it's also easier for me to do when I ask my ancestors questions. Mm-hmm. That's the most easiest form for me to do versus like cards, and I think it's because that's what they used to do. I read playing cards. You can read playing cards. It's actually where it kind of started with, as far as Black Americans, because like we wasn't allowed to like practice this kind of stuff, so we would use playing cards and like kind of disguise it. Playing cards, I'm still kind of learning. Those are pretty much the most forms that I do. I also read music too, so like if I ask a question, I press shuffle. Anybody can do this too. Mm-hmm. Ask a question, you press shuffle, and it'll give you an answer, but you gotta use your intuition to help you.
So this is something I saw you, it like came all at once within like the recent 1 to 2 years. When did you pick up on the interest?
So the interest came in like 2020, about August. So like, I was having like a lot of coincidence happen to me. So like, you know when COVID in 2020, everybody thought they was gonna die. Yeah. So I was working at Victoria's Secret. Of course, it's a small store. Mm-hmm. And then I got hired on at Target. And literally the time that I got hired on at Target was when somebody first got COVID at Victoria's Secret. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh my gosh, something saved me. And then it was like this guy that I haven't seen in many years, RP Tetrick. I haven't seen him in years. Mm-hmm. And then like I wasn't even supposed to be with him that day on my birthday. I wasn't even supposed to see him, but I just so happened to see him, and then 2 days later he passed away. So I felt like that was a sign. It was the universe. And then like the last sign was like I had like dead flies all over my house for some reason. I'm like, that's a spiritual significance. I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. So like I had always been interested in getting readings, and I was actually supposed to do a pool party with a tarot reader that month and that year, but I didn't end up going through with it. So I've always been interested in like getting readings, but that's kind of what like started my spiritual journey. Like made me realize maybe I have a spiritual connection. And then when I got pregnant, because that was August of 2020, all that stuff happened. Mm-hmm. I got pregnant in October 2020, and then I was pregnant. I was having these crazy dreams. When you're pregnant, girl, pay attention to your dreams.
Oh, I did have crazy dreams. They was all valid.
They was valid?
Yeah.
Did they have any meaning behind it? Like any of them come true?
No, like the ones that I had was like, my dad passed prior to my pregnancy. Mm-hmm. It'd be weird shit, like people breaking into his house and all that shit. It'd be like weird, like I was in New Orleans with NBA YoungBoy in one of his shootouts. I didn't know why I was there.
What the hell?
I don't know. It was weird shit like that. Every day I was waking up in cold sweats from a violent ass dream. But you go back to what you were saying.
We're gonna have to look into that. We're gonna do some divination on that. So, I had a dream that my cousin had got shot. Him and Nush for some reason. I had a dream that they both got killed together. And then like a week later he got shot. So I was like, wow, like this is crazy. And I was pregnant at the time. So then like I kept having crazy dreams. Like I had one about now this is kind of personal. But I had a dream about something like that, and it ended up coming true too. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when you're pregnant, like it's like a very spiritual connection, because you're like a portal from the spiritual world. You're bringing in a whole nother spirit, a whole nother soul into the world. Yeah. So that's why I'm so big on women and feminism. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like that's a very spiritual connection. So I feel like when I was pregnant, I had like a heightened spiritual downloads and stuff. So I ended up getting a reading in 2022 from this girl. Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah, you're an oracle reader, you're a tarot reader, you can read bones, you can do claromancy readings. And she was like, you're a witch, this and this and that. I was like, I freaking knew it. So I just started doing readings on myself, and people see me posting my readings that I was doing on myself. I'm like, can I get a reading? So I unintentionally opened it up to other people, and now I just read for everybody.
Yeah, I tell you, it came on. I'm like, okay, new talent, but where did it come from? Yeah. And it looks like you read up on it and got educated pretty quick, because she has a whole page dedicated just to that hobby. Mm-hmm.
Don't know me.
So I think that we're gonna go ahead and wrap this interview up. I have to say thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so happy. I love her journey. I'm talking about. I talk about you. I swear. Like I'm always telling somebody like I got a friend who's a teacher. Like you need tutoring. She'll be able to help you. Like I almost told my niece one day to DM you for a paper. I'm like, just tell her you know me, and she will be down.
And you never DM me for your paper.
My paper, I didn't. I had went ahead and did it.
Okay.
I did. I probably wouldn't have been good if I would have had your help, but I'll be overthinking shit.
I think it's the Virgo in you. You overthinking stuff. I think it'll be good. You're a perfectionist at heart.
But yeah, I'm so happy about this. If you aren't yet, you should be inspired by her. Tell the people where to keep up with you at.
On Instagram, you can follow me at 60 Shades of .te. That's Tay. Again, that is 60 Shades of .te.
All right, and then shout out your reading page.
Solar Sorceress, because I'm a Leo, of course, my birthday's coming up. Solar Sorceress, so SO1AR.sorceress. Again, that is SO1AR.sorceress.
What day is your birthday?
August 19th.
August 19th. I don't think I'm going to hold off that late. But I'm like, watch him come on your birthday. It'll be, watch, in your reading. Go home and think about it. Go home and think about it.
I would love a birthday buddy.
But yes, thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.